Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, it is your host, Kevin Phillip Fox. Welcome into the Legit Football NFL podcast. Do not adjust your TV screens, your phone screens. That is an absolute buzz cut on my head. We'll talk about it on the show. Without further ado, I don't want to waste any time. It's Thanksgiving. As most of you know who have been following the show for a long time, I got introduced to the show, and I want to say the 2022 Thanksgiving preview. Could have been 2023. I'll check my sources. But this is a very meaningful episode for us every year, so we could not do this episode without bringing out the absolute biggest of big guns possible. And I'm going to go in order of least surprising to most surprising. First things first, I'm going to start off with the person who's here with me every single week, usually. A little slower this season. But ladies and gentlemen, from down under, Adrian Revito is here. Adrian, welcome into the show. What's going on?
Just enjoying the music. You know what? It's always like, I'm always as funny because when you see me off screen, I'm always bopping along to the intro song and the walk-in music, and it's good feels, man. I'm feeling great. I love the buzz cut. We are going to address it in depth. It's probably 85% of this episode is probably going to be based on your hair.
I'm cool with it, man. We can get
Over
into the weeds. We can get into the weeds, man. I got called Slim Shady at least 4 times. It's fine. It is what it is.
How are you, man?
Dude, I'm fantastic, man. But I'll tell you what, I couldn't be happier that we have our third guest. He's the fearless leader of Legit Football. He's no longer the substitute teacher. He's stepping back in. He's got his blazer on. That is Mr. CEO or CFO or whatever he is. He's the head honcho. Brian McFadden is here for the preview. Money Mac, what's going on, brother?
What is up, boys? I can't believe I'm actually doing this again. We 100%, 85 to 90% of this, Kev, is going to be about your hair because we can't not talk about that. But also, Adrian, I have to ask, does Thanksgiving mean anything to you in Australia? I mean, is it other than football?
Yeah, I mean, it means football on days that are more accessible for me to watch.
There you go.
Other than that, look, you know what? I was saying to Ant actually before you guys joined in the pregame. We were thinking of doing Thanksgiving for some American friends in Australia here last year, and we didn't for no particularly good reason. But we were going to go all out with like the traditional foods. So I heard that I think last year you guys drafted Thanksgiving foods. I could have very little to input, but I did make a pumpkin pie. It was disgusting, but yeah, that was all right. Like it was interesting.
Then you did something wrong. Pumpkin pie is one of the greatest foods ever invented.
I love pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
When it's done well,
spicy as hell.
A nice
spicy.
plain...
It's not supposed to be spicy.
Not
somebody screwed
spices.
it up.
Spices.
Somebody screwed it up.
It's a sweet dish. It's not supposed to have spices.
I screwed it up then.
Yeah, that got screwed up. You got to get like a nice dollop of whipped cream. You got to get like a nice hot cup of coffee on the side. That is the absolute premium Thanksgiving dessert.
It's dessert, right? It's dessert.
Yeah, it's dessert. Yes.
What are we doing here? What do we get? I never let the fact that you're Australian come between us, but it is starting to come between us right now. This is a problem.
Yeah.
You're
talking about that. We're either talking about this or we're talking about the fact that I look like I'm podcasting with criminals right now. The shaved head, the handlebar mustache. It's not a handlebar mustache, I know, but it looks like it.
It's just crap. But when you're old and this is all white on screen, it just looks like I have a handlebar mustache. You know what? Screw it. It's a handlebar mustache.
Fu Manchu.
It's stressful being the head honcho. It's stressful.
Ladies and gentlemen, it would not be Legit Football without our boy Armand in the chat, and he is actually chiming in to agree with Adrian. He says that pumpkin pie is the Browns of Thanksgiving food.
Oh,
he gets it.
Terrible takes.
Armand gets it.
Armand, and you know I love you. It's been a while. The Jets have a worse record right now than the Browns. So is pumpkin pie the Jets of Thanksgiving?
Drag him, Brian. He deserves it, man. He deserves it. No, we love Armand.
He went out and he trashed my favorite.
He did throw
dessert. So
he did
favorite dessert. So if you're
holiday dessert,
very
holiday dessert,
clear delineation there.
Yes, holiday dessert. Because I only have pumpkin pie. Kev, let me know if you're the same. Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas time.
Like maybe twice a year, but it's two of the best meals.
Delicious. Both of those times.
I think the key is in the crust. I think you need a nice crunchy crust. You know, I don't want it to be too moist. I want to have like a little crunch in that crust. You know what I'm saying?
Just a little resistance.
You know what I'm saying? Just a little resistance. You know what I'm saying? So this week, I'm sure a lot of Thanksgiving things will be coming up today. This is the Thanksgiving episode. We are 48 hours away from the debatably the best day of the football season, which is Thanksgiving. You get your comfy elastic sweatpants on. you sit down in front of a TV and you park it and you ignore the political and economic debates at the table and you focus on your parlays and your fantasy teams.
It's an escape from all of that, right?
It is the best escape that there is.
And can I tell you, I want to throw this in as a football degenerate who watches just about every single football game there is. I love Thanksgiving because there's just one game on at a time. I don't have to have 6 different screens going. I can just focus on my morning, my midday, and my evening snack.
No need for NFL Red Zone on Thanksgiving. We have just one television screen, and it is the big screen. And you can pretend that you're listening to your angry uncle who's ranting about whatever he's ranting about. And you run out of saying, that's crazy, bro. You say it enough times, they just keep thinking that you're listening. And you're like, I just need one more Jared Goff passing touchdown. And I cash my first parlay of the day. Come on. It's a beautiful thing. And to kick the show off, this is kind of our intro. You know, we love a little segment. We love a little intro. We're going to be doing one thing that we are thankful for this football season. And let's say for kicks, we'll do one thing we're not thankful for this football season. Brian McFadden, given that this is the podcast that you started several years ago, why don't you kick us off? What are you most thankful for this NFL season? Oh, Anthony. Oh. Anthony is absolutely killing it.
He's got it.
I thought that was my phone.
Put me right back in it. So are we doing thankful for the whole season? Thankful for week 12? Like, what are we kind of...
Let's do both. Whatever you got for us, Brian.
Well, what I prepped was just for week 12, but it also can kind of apply to the season. I'm thankful that after 12 weeks, we finally have, in my opinion, a clear best team in the NFL. And that hails where you live, Kev, where Anthony lives, and not far from me, the LA Rams. To me, clear and away after 12 weeks, after the dismantling they put on the Bucs, who were supposed to be, I know Baker's injured, but I mean, they're number one in the NFC South. It's like they're at least a frisky team, and Definitely. They were like a middle school flag football team going up against these Rams.
Yeah, Brian, I love the take, and I think you're absolutely right. This does kind of feel like that time of year where we're starting to get some clarity. I want to give Adrian a chance to reply on whether or not he agrees with you or not. I will jump in because what I'm thankful for is very directly related to what you're thankful for. So we'll talk about that in a second. But Adrian, is that a hot take of Brian McFadden to say that there is a clear-cut best team in football right now?
I don't think it's a hot take. I think, look, the Rams have been doing things that, like, you know, we're so far removed from that year where Sean McVay was looking like he was going to retire, and it's like, time to rebuild. And okay, well, we got our Super Bowl, but it cost us everything. Like, they've rebuilt so quick. Matt Stafford is just playing, like we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Kev, when Matt Stafford's one of those players that's just like, he's just aging like a fine wine. They've got this young kind of defensive core.
He was supposed to have back problems. That literally would have not been a thing.
Every time you count Matt Stafford out, he goes and becomes the best quarterback in the NFL.
Guys, do you remember they were questioning whether he would even be ready for week 1? And now he's the MVP frontrunner. Yeah.
Yep.
What the hell?
Unbelievable.
TD leader, like, and it's not just that. It's like, it's not just their vets. They've got this young core of especially defensive players that are playing out of their mind. Especially last week, like, since we're talking about week 12, they had the dedication to Aaron Donald, and then like they showed Jared Verse had been working out with him, and the defensive front just killed him. It was awesome to see. I will say, and this is not my thankful for, but it kind of, I'm going to pigeontail here. It's nice that we've got a clear front runner, but don't be surprised in 3 weeks if that's not the case. Like, I feel like the NFL's got to a level of such parity that, like, in 3 weeks' time, if the Rams are not the best team in the league, that it's not going to shock me one bit.
And Adrian, it's almost as though the three of us have been podcasting together for quite some time, because that is just such a perfect segue to what I'm thankful for in the NFL, which ironically, Brian McFadden, in direct contradiction to what you're thankful for.
That sounds like, what are the seagulls? That doesn't sound like a turkey. Is that? Am I hearing the same thing to you?
It sounds like it sounds like a cartoon.
Maybe I spend too much time near the ocean down here in Southern California, but I hear seagulls.
It sounds like a turkey, like from like. Did you guys ever play that old South Park video game where you like throw snowballs at turkey? It sounds like that kind of literally like a cartoon turkey. There you go. I think it's solid. It's a solid gobble gobble.
Sounds like a monkey, like a little monkey. Okay, I won't. Hey, you got sound effects, and just keep.
Ant's killing it. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, producer Anthony is here. We didn't have a chance to introduce him, but you may or may not see him later in the show. Spoiler alert. For those spoiler people. What
He's
I'm
a Lions
thankful
fan.
for,
We have to let him talk at least for 2 minutes, right?
he may or may not.
Do we
talk.
though?
We'll leave it up to Adrian. Adrian,
I
because
don't
need to.
they're playing Packers.
we're building up suspense, Brian. It's theater.
Okay, fair.
I have to.
I'm rusty. It's been a while. I'm out of practice here.
I have to, despite the fact that he is the boss, I do have to directly contradict what Brian said because I'm thankful for parity. I feel like I haven't been an NFL fan in a sea of such uncomfortable and unclear waters in maybe a decade. I cannot tell you the last time that I felt while watching any NFL game and while analyzing any NFL slate. I don't feel like there's one team. Maybe I was going to say maybe the Rams in the NFC. You could maybe make a case for, I mean, the Patriots are probably that in the AFC. Let's be realistic here. But outside of those teams, those teams with 2 losses, it's the Patriots, it's the Broncos, it's the Rams, maybe the Colts. They did just drop one to KC. The Seahawks look really great in the NFC. There's a lot of teams, but
Rams just beat them.
It is it's murky at the top of the league this year, man. And I'm so elated. I'm so. Hold on, I pressed a button on my microphone. Can you still hear me good?
You're still rocking, man. Don't keep the flow going.
I'm absolutely.
That started to creep me out for some reason. Am I the only one here? The Goblins creeping me out.
Absolutely creeped out. I'm elated that we can watch any NFL game any given Sunday. That feels like it's as applicable as it's been in decades. You have your perennial contenders, your Chiefs, your Ravens, your Bills, your Bengals. Those teams are all honestly right in the thick of it. They're all right in the hunt. They're not in that elite tier.
Bengals, no, but rest.
Well, that's fair in terms of record, but
we'll talk
Joe
about
Burrow. Yeah, we'll talk about them in a little bit. As far as I'm concerned, Joe Burrow is breathing. He has a pulse. Therefore, they have a chance until they're mathematically eliminated. That's where my head is at when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Agreed.
But same in the NFC. You have your Lions. You have your Packers. You have your Bears. There are so many teams this season who
Lions
are absolute.
Bears.
The absolute, like, I would not be surprised if any of 14 teams were to be the team hoisting the Lombardi at the end of the season. It wouldn't shock me. And that's the most teams in the thick of championship contention that I can remember this late into the season. And that's what I'm thankful for.
I agree with you, man.
Quickly, and then I want to hear Adrian's thoughts. I agree as a whole. This has been such a year of parity. I am not going to dispute that in the slightest. But I am going to slightly back up my thoughts that the Rams are a step above everyone else, right? So Seattle, you mentioned as one of those teams, and they are. The Seahawks have been, what a great story, right? They have a great defense. Sam Darnold, turns out it wasn't a fluke, and they should have let him go, and Minnesota replaced him with a guy that is, let's just say, not quite up to par.
Let's just say horrendess. Let's just call it what it is.
Let's just say he's dreadful, like one of the worst NFL quarterbacks since Jamarcus Russell. But
and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember us having too many pre-draft discussions about the quarterbacks, but did you like McCarthy? Because I never did. I was
neutral. I was neutral. I was willing to give him a shot. He didn't have. He was in an offense that was so run heavy. Even though he had a lot of starts under his belt, he didn't get to really lead a team as a quarterback because of how that Michigan defense was, because of the run game.
Yeah,
like Corum.
Yeah.
So we didn't really know what we were getting, even though he had all these starts under his belt. So I was neutral. I wasn't gonna bury him, but I wasn't head over heels like I was with like Drake May, for instance, or Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. Unfortunately, also I was very head over heels with Drake May. So I can relate. But I'll just say, JJ McCarthy is Mac Jones, but just less doofy. That's my take. Maybe not even that.
That's an insult to Mac Jones, man. Have you seen how he's played in that Shanahan offense this year?
It's been 5 years. He's getting a little, and it's the Shanahan offense. McCarthy in a Shanahan offense might just, mess
Kevin
around.
O'Connell is from that tree. He's from the McVay tree, and he's made who was the Rocket Man? The rocket scientist quarterback.
Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs, right? He actually looked like a viable fantasy guy under Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah. And I also will say Wentz.
I just realized this completely went into a JJ McCarthy.
It did. I apologize
discourse,
for that.
Which was not my intention.
Circling back, you were saying.
Yeah. So and I'm happy to talk about trash JJ later, but I think everybody kind of maybe is tired of it at this point.
Yeah, we know.
If you look at even like the 2 losses that they have, one loss, the Eagles had to block up pretty much a gimme field goal and then return it all the way back to win that game. right? Great play, fantastic play. But the Rams were set up to win that game. And the other one was a division game against Kyle Shanahan, and the Niners just got him on a primetime game. Other than that, they have not just been winning and eking out victories like, say, the Chiefs or the Colts. They have been freaking dominating teams. Teams like the Jaguars and the Bucks that have winning records, they made them look like JV teams. So I'm not saying it's leaps and bounds, but I think it's Rams and then underneath a whole bunch of other teams. Not a big jump, but I do think the Rams are right now in a tier by themselves.
So so to you, it's like S tier Rams, and then A tier is like how many teams? Like literally like 10 teams, right?
Yeah,
like,
7, 8. Yeah, exactly.
Like I honestly, and that's the thing with the league and with the parity. Even the B tier teams, I feel like there's a couple that could just go on a run. It's gonna be fun to see how this playoff shakes out.
Fun. I agree. And any wild card team that squeaks in could absolutely go on a run. I love how balanced this, like top to bottom, this Rams team is just that. And I love parity, but I also kind of want to know that there's one team that everybody should be gunning for, and that's the Rams.
It does feel the best. It does, yeah, exactly. If it's the Chiefs, then we aren't happy. But it's the Rams. We all love Stafford. He's one of the most likable quarterbacks in NFL history. Unfortunately for Anthony, I do feel as though his legacy is being rewritten as a Ram, which is kind of tragic for the Lions and that history. So sorry, Anthony. He's going to retire a Ram, possibly with multiple rings. Adrian, you were going to chime in on the parody take before Brian absolutely destroyed it.
I was.
Please.
But now I need to chime in on. I need to chime in on one note on the Rams, and then I'll put a bow on the parody. With the Rams, it's funny because like you hear them talk every broadcast, every recap show, they all talk about 13 personnel, and the Rams are doing it better than anyone else. And it's funny when you take like, for example, the last year's Eagles. You can't speak the Eagles without saying the word tush push. There's no way to describe their season.
Yeah, fair.
The tush. And
any season, the last 3 years.
The tush push was new. To an element they invented it. 13 personnel has been around for a long time, but the Rams are just taking it to this whole new level, and it's one piece in a million pieces to what you're saying, Brian. They're just this well-rounded team that can do just about anything, which is awesome. But I stand by that they can be beaten by anyone because of the parity that I'm going to tie it together here because of the parity you're talking about, Kevin. Because if you were a Colts fan last season, or a Commanders fan season before, or a Texans fan the season before, you can be at the bottom, and all of a sudden it's like, holy hell, we're hot, we're coming out of the gates firing, and we've got a real chance to contend here. And that is just like NFL owners, that's just a fever dream because, you know, you've got some of these perpetually bad franchises, and I'm sorry, the Jets are one of them. The Browns are another. It used to be the Lions, used to be one as well, but like, we've gotten to a point now in the NFL where most teams with semi-competent leadership can turn it around and compete. And that's great because it keeps fans coming back and it keeps you wanting more and it gives you the hope that you want to feel. No one likes, as a Packers fan, it's not lost on me that I've been spoiled, but I remember the Brett Huntley year. I remember waking up at 5 a.m. my time to watch a Brett Huntley game and being like, I can't swear on the show, but what the bleep am I doing here?
Yeah.
You don't want that. And parody brings that hope and that like the excitement to any week. And I love it. And I think it's a great thing to be thankful for.
Yeah. That in the hunt graphic is going to be really full come January. I feel like the especially in the AFC, those playoffs are going to be sorting themselves out for weeks. There's potential frauds at the top of divisions. There's potential contenders hiding in plain sight. We won't know until things unfold, but I completely agree with you, Brian, that the Rams have established themselves as the toast of the NFL with their recent performances and with their versatility. Balance is a great word for it. I mean, they can kill you with Stafford's arm. They can kill you with the two-headed monster of Kyron and Corum. The defense is absolutely suffocating. What a unit on defense, man. It kind of reminds me of the Texans, like maybe like the Western Texans. You know, those are the two defenses right now in the league that are like, man, I don't want to play them. They're suffocating. Really.
You know that it's a season ended right now, the Detroit Lions, who, as Adrian said, used to be the laughingstock, but now they're always one of the best teams in the NFL. They would be on the outside looking in. That's crazy. And
Kansas City
is a testament to the parity. Chiefs as well. Yeah. Unbelievable.
And you know, I mean, you got your Ravens storming back. You got your Bills kind of teetering, like, you know, every other week. They're the best and then they're the worst. It's kind of become a meme at this point. Just, will the real Bills please stand up? You got like I said, I made the comment of the Bengals being in the thick of it, and I actually fully realized how silly that was in hindsight. What are they, 3-7, 3-8?
No, you were right first time. No,
but
sorry.
Talk about it. I don't feel like you can count them out. I really don't.
And because of the AFC North, they're actually, I think they're only 3 games out of first, but still they would basically,
they play the Ravens
not
twice.
basically,
and I was
they
going
need
to say,
to win out. They need
who are
to
they
win out. The
behind?
Steelers are ahead of the Steelers and the Ravens. The Steelers and the Ravens are tied for first.
Steelers are one of those teams. They could be a fraud. I don't think the Patriots are fraudulent. I think the Patriots are legitimate, but I think second-year quarterback in the playoffs is a different monster. I think we'll see, because Drake May right now, if Matt Stafford's not having the season of his life, 30-2 interception ratio, Drake May is the MVP favorite. Like, it's crazy what Drake May and what Vrabel and McDaniels are doing in New England. It really is, and it needs to be highlighted in the segment we're talking about parity, because they were a team who qualified for the offseason darling, as you guys might recall, and who was actually, unfortunately, my offseason darling. So this, is it with chicken or the egg? Is it because I picked them, or did I pick them because they were due? I don't know. That's to be debated.
This is somebody catching up who hasn't had the privilege of being on with you, fine gentlemen. You, the Bills fan, picked the Patriots as your offseason darling.
I tried to veto it.
What?
I tried to veto it.
Through gritted teeth, I was nauseous, and now I know, like in hindsight, like I feel sick about it, but I just let the board speak to me, Brian.
I will say that you're a true pro, Kev.
I let the board speak to me. The analyst in me always wins out over the fan in me. I had to do what I thought was right, and I just saw it. I saw the path. That team, they just had the formula. They had the Kevin Phillip box offseason darling formula. Fellas, it's been absolutely amazing talking about what we're thankful for. Before we move on to these previews, because they're going to be a doozy, we absolutely need to talk about what we aren't thankful for. And if you guys have something locked and loaded, please jump in. I got mine ready to roll. If you guys need a second,
I got a goodie here.
Let it rip, Age.
I have to say this one. All right, because
please.
And you weren't here for this, Brian, but in our last show, I had a bit of a rant about the Kevins of the coaching world. And I want to talk about what I'm not thankful for. As a whole, this started out when I was thinking about this, and the little peek behind the curtain here, right? I was thinking, I'm really not thankful for watching Nick Chubb these days, because he was, and when I first joined,
low blow.
No, hold on. Let me finish this. Bring this home.
Let me cook.
Yeah. When I first joined this podcast, I couldn't have spoke higher about. He was my favorite running back, one of my favorite players in the NFL, the best pure runner in the NFL, in my personal opinion, right? And he was just, he didn't have a season below 5 yards per carry. Now I've got to watch him in this Texans team. He's basically RB2 or RB1.5, like 4 yards per carry. Hasn't hit 1,000 yards over the last 3 seasons combined. That's how it started. And then I'm like in this alternate reality where Kevin Stefanski didn't send Baker Mayfield, they were like, okay, he's got a shoulder injury, let him rehab it and play properly. We kept him in there. You kept your picks, you kept your cap, you got Nick Chubb, you got Myles Garrett setting sack records, you've got Quinton Judkins and Harold Fanning Jr. and all these exciting rookies, plus the additional picks. And I'm just not thankful for the fact that the Browns had to Brown, because if they didn't Brown, they would have had Baker Mayfield, who, he's cooled off a little bit, but he was MVP frontrunner a few weeks ago. Yeah, and he was TD. Was he TD leader last year, or at least through part of the season? Like, they could have kept him.
He's been unbelievable.
Played him
in Tampa.
He's been unbelievable. And they did not need to bring Deshaun Watson in. They could have kept those picks and kept that cap, and the Browns could have been what the Lions are today, which is. The thought of the Lions being a laughingstock is so far in the rear view that you cannot even fathom them not. Like, we're talking about it, that I can't believe that they're on the outside looking in. That's what the Browns could have been, and it sucks to see Myles Garrett, who is possibly one of the better.
That's the biggest crime right there. That's
one of the best defensive players
of
our generation,
all time. Yeah, forget the generation.
100%. You're right in that. You are absolutely right in that. So I think that I'm not thankful for the Browns browning. Full stop.
What a creative way to answer this question, Adrian. Like, you really went like football historian. You really did some revisionist history there, and I absolutely love it. That was really thoughtful and interesting. What a great way to take kind of a cookie cutter question. No offense to myself for pitching it, and making it really interesting. Proud of you.
I thrive when it's around negativity, not thankful. I thrive. We balance each other out in the universe. You're Mr. Positive, and I really thrive in this area.
I do. You can bemoan. That's one thing about you. I gotta say, I completely agree. Do you guys remember that period of time? There was like a 2-week period of time, and it looked like Myles Garrett was going to leave Cleveland this offseason. I was so excited, and let me tell you, if I didn't damn near have a 95 Bills jersey pre-ordered to my house, let me tell you, I'm not even playing. And now seeing what's happening, and it's true of Max Crosby as well. these elite pass rushers and players who could be generational withering away in absolutely pathetic football wastelands. It is devastating. It's fair, Adrian, to make that what you're not thankful for. That is, watching great players wither away on trash teams sucks. And that's
he is in the midst, if this continues, of maybe the single greatest defensive season in the history of the NFL.
He's gonna
and
do
it
it.
will be for freaking naught.
Yeah.
It'll be pointless.
For what? 4 wins? For 4 wins? For
yeah.
the
4
number
wins
3
and
pick?
the season
the
will be
Shador Sanders experience.
Exactly what I was going to say. This is going to be the Shador Sanders season. Nobody's going to remember. It's going to be lost in the annals of history. Myles Garrett, RIP, Adrian, great call. Brian McFadden, what are you not thankful for this NFL season?
Well, I could easily go into JJ McCarthy, but we already kind of threw him.
We kind of already did that.
And I don't want to talk about him anymore.
It's
personally.
He's already dead.
I'm just flabbergasted that he's so bad. And by the way, one quick note on that. I did see the Jamarcus Russell thing, and I don't remember the stat. It might be EPA, but there is a stat that JJ McCarthy is the worst rated quarterback since Jamarcus Russell. And it's EPA or DVOA or something like that. Jamarcus freaking Russell. Do you guys remember that the Raiders sent him a CD that they said the playbook was on? And it was blank. It was a blank CD, and they asked him the next day, "Hey, Jamarcus, what'd you think of those plays?" He's like, "Oh yeah, they're great."
That's amazing.
Nothing. That Jamarcus Russell. Anyway, okay, enough of
the poster child of busts. Absolutely.
So what is the thing that is going to disgust me, or I'm sorry, am I not thankful for even more than this JJ McCarthy
Clean it up.
thing?
Family show.
I'm staying with the theme. I'm staying with the theme here. This entire Raiders everything. I am not thankful for. How do you get Pete Carroll in there? And Chip Kelly, fresh off offensive coordinator for Ohio State, dominating offense. We've seen him run NFL offenses before. This isn't something new for him. You've got Ashton Genty, one of the best running back prospects we've seen in the past 2 decades.
Ever.
Geno, we saw him get resurrected. We know from a pure, forget fantasy, but from a pure quarterback perspective, Geno Smith, when he's on, is at least a top 12 to 15 quarterback. This whole organization, everything about it is awful. Is this a Tom Brady thing? Is he getting his fingers on this? Because the offensive line can't block for anything. They're wasting this insanely generational talent in Brock Bowers. Why are you not throwing him the ball 15 times a game? I don't understand it. Genty has no room to run. He actually has a really high broken tackle rate, but it doesn't matter because he's getting hit behind the line. He'll break 3 tackles and still lose 4 yards. The offense is completely wasted. Jacoby Myers gone now over in Jacksonville. There's nothing to like. There's nothing to get excited about. They fired Chip Kelly. Pete Carroll is going to be a one and done coach. Everything about watching this
Feels
team.
like it. Yeah.
Shador Sanders looked like an all-star against this Raiders team in his first debut. You know, I'm not about all the hate on Sanders, but
no,
they destroyed the Raiders. So everything about this Raiders experiment, I thought this AFC West, which has been very, very competitive, but I thought the Raiders were going to be right there, and instead they're maybe, guys, the worst team in the NFL.
It's pitiful. Yeah, it's a good take, and yeah, the Geno fall off should be studied because there were truthers, man, respected football minds watching every snap of Geno Smith saying he was not the problem in Seattle, and he is absolutely. I mean, he is not solely to blame for their struggles.
There's lots of problems, but he is definitely one of them.
Horrendous.
He does not look like himself. He does not look like we saw him in Seattle over the last few years.
It's fair to be, the Bowers injury didn't help anything. The personnel on the team is not special, but you fire both your coordinators. The play
calling sucks. This team is not playing for each other. The defense is vanilla. Everything. Other than Max Crosby.
Another one, same situation, just withering away with a horrendous team. And unfortunately, not to be too like they did it to themselves, but like they did it to themselves. They both signed those contracts, man. They both knew what they were doing. They unfortunately money talks. And I respect that for their careers and their lives and their families' lives and their kids' lives. But as far as them as a football player and as far as us as fans, we are watching just a splash of paint on a gray canvas with those studs.
But yeah, can I say money talks, right? But like, how much money were they losing leaving those
Exactly,
teams.
like literally,
Like,
bro.
if you're gonna get 150 and you're gonna get 140, but have a chance to compete, like what? I don't fully grasp the
I agree
reason
with
for
you.
why that goes down the way it goes down. Max Crosby, less than Myles Garrett, because he was always sort of like, I'm a Raider till I retire. He's had that kind of mentality from the beginning, and I respect it, although I hate to see it. But Myles Garrett wanted out the door.
Yeah.
He was like, oh no, they talked to me and we've got a plan.
Yeah.
To what?
We had a
Freaking
meeting.
They told him
Dylan
there was
Gabriel?
a plan.
Yeah.
Should
What's the
Should
plan?
do us in the 5th round, please.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't understand how that happens. I feel like Myles Garrett, it would have made the Bills even more terrifying. But I would love to see him on the Bills because I'd love to just see him in a competent team and a well-run organization.
And God, if only we could have a real pass rusher and not like, Bosa's been fine, but we've had a lot of geriatric pass rushers come through the door in recent years. We're trying to chase a Garrett. We're trying to chase a stallion like that, and we really haven't had one on defense. So, absolutely.
I'm going to put one final point on the Raiders, and then I want to get to yours, Kev.
Yes.
It's not just that the Raiders suck. It's that I don't understand why they suck.
Yeah.
Like the ingredients for Thanksgiving, right? We're
Right.
cooking here. We're trying to get a nice meal together. These ingredients: Ashton Genty, Geno Smith, Pete Carroll,
Brock Bowers.
Chip Kelly, Mac Crosby, Brock Bowers,
Yep.
Jacoby Myers at the time. I really like Jack Besh as a prospect.
That's
Like,
stud.
a lot of this, it's like, okay, this is going to taste good. And you put it in your mouth and it's like the worst experience than Adrian had with the pumpkin pie. And that's saying something.
Spicy
just don't
pie,
get it.
man.
Yeah, Aron says the Raiders suck because of ownership. I mean, clearly that's part of
Yeah,
it. But I think
yeah.
ownership has to include Brady because I think Brady had his fingerprints on all this. And for whatever reason,
course.
it's the cook. It's not just the
Yeah, fair.
ingredients. He's one of
Fair.
the cooks and it tastes disgusting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So mine's pretty simple. I think, like I said, you guys kind of went way more poetic with it. Mine's very simple. Mine's very straightforward. But you guys know, it's not legit football without me trying to shoehorn some fantasy talk in here. I am really, really not thankful for the amount of absolute studs that we lost this year to injury. I have been personally victimized by Regina George. A little Mean Girls reference there. I apologize for that. That was really awful of me. I'm 30 years
Stop
old.
trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go, Brian. Okay. I was nervous. I was like, I'm out on a limb here, but
I got you.
You guys caught me.
Guy
Yeah.
plural. I did not catch you. Did not get the reference. Still don't. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's a great film. It really is actually. It's a cult classic, but it's definitely like
I know the
teenage
pink on.
girl
All right,
lore.
now you've
Pink
spent
on
too much
Wednesday?
time on Mean Girls. Keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah. So back to the take. The injuries have absolutely decimated I like to say this. I like to be fancy. My portfolio. I've been very, very devastated by the injuries to Malik Neighbors. I've been very devastated by the injuries to Joe Burrow. We lost Lamar for a good chunk of the season. Bucky Irving. Oh my God, you guys know he's one of my favorite players in the league, and just having to not watch him. Oh man, watching Rashad White just plod along week after week. It's been a pretty devastating season from an injury perspective. And as a fantasy football fan and manager of 16 teams, I've been a little sad this year about fantasy. It hasn't. It's felt like watching Friends, but instead of everybody, it's just Ross. That's kind of what I've been. My fantasy
David
experience.
Schwimmer taking some heat.
Hey, I love David Schwimmer. He's great. One of the best actors on the show, but you need the whole.
I
Yeah,
agree
it
with
is
you.
all boy. If it's Ross by himself, it's just not.
It's just
no,
screaming.
Get me away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what injury was the saddest to me actually.
Which one?
I love everything about Cam Scadoo. There's something about that guy that's just so fun to
Stud.
watch, and for him to be out for the year in his rookie year, the Giants were so fun with him and Jackson Dart out there. So, and I did have quite a few Scadaboo shares in Dynasty, so I'm looking forward to having him come back next year. But regardless of that, they just made the Giants fun, right? That's the thing.
Yep.
These other teams, like, there's something fun about them. That's my Raiders take. There's nothing fun. But Scadaboo and Dart really made the Giants actually must-watch football.
Absolutely. Hunneball's Giants, former offseason darling of Hunneball. Hunter, without you being here, it's kind of weird for me to take this shot, but how's that working out for you, buddy?
It's like, I don't want to take a shot, but I'm going to take a shot.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna clip that as a short for
Clip
sure.
that. Yeah, so I really wish football was Madden and we could turn injuries off, because I've not had a good time with the IR and the filling of the backups and the oh God, it's been a tough year from an injury perspective, and it is every year, right? I feel like we say that every year, but
Yeah.
the names on that list just happen to be some of the most electric players in the NFL. So I look forward to 2026 when we get to see
Yeah.
Scadaboo
I will say though,
neighbors, and yeah, go ahead, Age.
No. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, which is super rude of me.
No,
But
it's all good.
I was gonna say, I will say, like, it doesn't feel as Joe Burrow is probably the big one. Lamar obviously was another one, but like it doesn't feel as like bad this year as it has been in the past with like exciting quarterbacks taking serious injuries that put them out for the season. And I say that just to say every year we're like, God, it seems like a really bad injury year, and it feels that way. But if I look back on it, it doesn't feel as bad at the quarterback position. But there are some exciting and to your point about Scotty, some young players that we would have loved to see. Who knows? Respectfully to Scotty, because I wasn't high on him. Who knows what he's going to be when he comes back? Like, can he still put his head down and try and punch through every single person in the line? Like, can he do half of the things that he's going to do? We don't know. And it does suck and it does hurt, and injuries, it's part of the game, but it's the part that we hate. So, yeah, I guess just to put a bow on your point, that I wish we could turn him off, because it would be wild to see what this season would be like without him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, fellas, without further ado, Anthony, I know your finger's been itching on that button. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our... Oh! That's what I'm talking about, baby. We got 3 games on Thanksgiving. Regal.
Extremely.
Because nothing says Thanksgiving like British medieval horns.
Game of Thrones music.
Okay, they celebrated that.
All right.
In England, old England.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 games to get through. We happen to have... Oh, and there's the slate there. Brilliant. Absolutely beautiful. We happen to have a fan of one of each of those teams on the top. And without further ado, my co-host, Adrian Revito, will jump in and talk about it. But before we do that, we do have to bring in a special guest, our producer, my friend and liaison to this podcast, Mr. Anthony Weiner. Welcome into the show. Put yourself in the Alice bubble and maybe remove that slate if you can. Big dog.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man? Are you excited? You excited for Thursday?
I am. I'll tell you what, if we didn't win on Sunday, I wouldn't be excited. The fact that we pulled it off makes me excited. And so it was like, and I knew in the fourth quarter when I thought we were going to lose, that was going to define my Thanksgiving. I'm like, am I going to enjoy my dinner or am I going to cry over it? Like what?
Fair.
Like, what's going to happen? How's this turkey going to taste? And we pulled it off barely, but what
great win
is the fact that we went into overtime.
Am I the only one who didn't think for 1 second that the Giants were going to win that game?
No shot.
No, I was right there with you.
I'm like, the Lions are going to win. I don't know how, but they're going to win.
Oh, no, other way around. I thought they weren't going to win.
Oh, no, I thought the entire time the Lions were going to win.
That's haterade, Adrian.
100% is. It was wish casting, if nothing else.
Are we talking about the Lions-Giants game?
Yeah.
I think it was the magic of Mike Kafka pulling out these weird random trick plays and Jameis Winston magic. Like, anything can happen when Winston's in the game, and that's what I was kind of banking on.
Yeah, anything can happen, and Winston is good for a pick, which he threw right on cue.
Yep.
And the Giants' run defense is one of the worst in the league, and Jahmyr Gibbs single-handedly beat them. It was just like, I don't know.
Crazy.
I knew it was going to happen.
Without further ado, we have the Detroit Lions at home, 2.5-point favorites with an over-under of 48.5. Adrian, take it away.
All right. This is, what, actually, a little walk down memory lane. I don't know if you guys remember the first time we did a pod together, Brian, Kevin, I think, and Anthony. Actually, you were there producing not at the time, sorry, you'd been there before me, but you were producing that show. I talked about how I can kind of keep my cool, and if my team loses, I can still function through the rest of the day. For some reason, since joining this podcast, that no longer is the case. So what sucks to be a Lions fan, Anthony, is that your Thanksgiving has eternally been defined by how the Lions perform, but it is no longer a joke of a game. It is no longer let's sit through it till the Cowboys are on. The Lions are now awesome to watch, super fun, and this is a super scary game for the Packers. Heavy analysis there. But let's kind of talk about the game, right? So the Lions, at the moment, if I look at for where that weak spot's going to be, is we know that Jared Goff doesn't do well under pressure, and that is kind of like a tale as old as time, and it gets said all the time, and then sometimes someone will throw statistics like, well, actually, he does okay. He's not good under pressure. If you want to make the Lions falter, the way to do it is to make Jared Goff uncomfortable in the pocket. The Lions O-line currently has 4 out of 5, all except for the left guard listed as questionable. So they've lost some people to injury, they've got banged up players, and they've got Micah Parsons, who is playing at the moment, he's playing like the player the Packers took him to be. And Rashawn Gary has stepped up because of him, because you've got to double or triple him. Rashawn Gary's been getting, I think he's got more sacks on the season than Micah Parsons, if I'm not, or maybe not at the moment, but very close too. So I think the game script here for the Packers is to try and make Jared Goff uncomfortable, try and force the issues with his pass game. Now, the problem with that is Jahmyr Gibbs, the way he just broke out. That's actually the worst way to speak, because he's been a superstar since week 1. But in week 1, he only went 9 totes for 19 yards. He wasn't a game wrecker in week 1. He needs to be that in this game. And I have more to say on this game, but I'm going to kind of throw so I don't, monologue for 20 minutes. I think that this is going to be a game where the defensive line is going to decide who does what, because Jordan Love, spoiler alert, also doesn't do well under pressure. Jordan Love also is one of those players who, and you can love him or hate him for it. I personally love him. He will try to take the game on his back, and he often makes mistakes because of it. He tries to force throws. He throws into triple coverage we've seen recently. And he makes mistakes when pressure's been put on him, even though his stats actually don't speak that well about it. If you watch every snap and you watch every game, his errors and his mistakes happen when he's under pressure. So it's going to be Hayden Hutchinson is going to get home no matter what, but you need someone else to step up there and make Jordan Love uncomfortable. Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary have to do the same to Jared Goff, and it's probably going to be one of those games where the defense decides who's going to win. I can't imagine it being the same as week 1. I don't see this being one-sided affair, and I hope for my sake that's true. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to take a breath and throw to you guys to throw your own analysis in on it, but I think this is going to be a pretty strong defensive game, and it might be a little ugly, but it's going to be exciting no matter what.
I want to, before Brian starts, because it looks like he's about to.
No, I'm not going to speak before the Lions fan. I'm letting you go. I've got lots of notes on this game.
Up here.
Respect.
I have more notes on this game than the other two. Go.
It's a fun one.
I'll get my analysis out of the way so you guys can go at it. But I do want to ask you, Adrian, so are you saying you would bet on the under in this game, that it would be that defensive?
It's Kevin's going to give me some flack here for sure, because I'm the mayor of sitting on the fence. Like, I don't say it with my chest a lot of the time, and this is another one of those games. Like, if this turns out into a shootout, it wouldn't shock me. But if it turns out into both teams scoring less than 20, that wouldn't shock me either. The Lions and Packers, are ranked 5th and 6th defensively, respectively. So, that's based on yards per game, offensive yards per game. So it wouldn't shock me if the scores stayed low.
That's fair.
If I'm betting, I'm betting the under. Yes, with my chest, under.
Okay. I'm on Ross St. Brown, superstar. Obviously, he's covered his receiving yards over in the last 8 games, and that's around like the 70, 80 yard range. 8 games, even when he's dropping passes. Goff's under pressure. He has a guy to throw it to. He's consistently covering his over. And not only from a betting standpoint, but just analysis and data just say that the offense knows how to operate. Even when Goff's under pressure, he somehow throws for 400 yards. I'm like, where did those 400 yards come from? Because I'm sitting here watching the game, and we're going 3 and out 6 times in one half. I'm like, where's all these yards coming from? So they know how to operate. They know how to move the ball down the field. They have the weapons for it. Gibbs was a big help with that. If Green Bay cannot stop Gibbs, then Detroit's going to run away with this game, pun intended. And if they can stop the run, then all we have to do is smoke the linebackers and try to stop Parsons and Gary. If we can't, which we probably won't. If we can, then just ball it out, air it out. Either way, we're good on both sides of the ball. And so points will be scored. I would say that we're going to hit that over because there are issues on both sides of the ball. Packers secondary and Detroit's secondary are both kind of broken. I know JJ McCarthy's not a great example of a quarterback to
that's an understatement.
Compared to, because you could say your defense did good on Sunday. But look who's at quarterback. Of course, your defense is going to do good. Of course, you're going to look good. You're playing against JJ McCarthy. And so now you're playing against a veteran quarterback, whole different team. I think it's just going to look different, not only on paper, but also on the field.
And I agree with you. And I don't think. Look, you know what is probably a good example here for the defense, particularly, is playing against the Eagles, where you've got this you've got superstars all over the place. They can beat you in different ways, and yet they held them to, I can't remember what 17 points or something like that. And one touchdown came in late in the fourth. So I agree with what you're saying, Anth, but I think the key here for me is getting the Lions. This is going to sound stupid. Getting them into 4th and 2, 4th and 3, where you can almost bank on David Campbell, good God, Dan Campbell to go for it. And then using Michael Parsons and Rashawn Gary, like they're great pass rush, but Michael Parsons is excellent stopping the run too. And that's the way to kind of you get those turnovers, and that's where you get those games where they've got 400 yards of offense, but only 20 points on the board because they turn it over on downs. And that does happen. That's a byproduct of Dan Campbell's awesomeness because he goes for it and gets it a lot. But if you can stop him on those 4th downs and you can take the ball away without any points on the board, that's to me how you can beat the Lions. The only way to beat the Lions, because you're right in that you cannot stop Jahmyr Gibbs forever. It's not going to happen.
I think
let's have at it.
If anyone
Fight to the death.
is going to stop Gibbs, it's going to be Parsons. But then, you get the opportunity to now stop Parsons. Then what? Who else do you have to take that gap? And when you're that good at Philadelphia, they're struggling on offense. So even that's not a valid argument because they're struggling offensively too. The only reason they're doing as good as they are is because of their defense. I mean, Detroit stopped them with a broken secondary. And I think that, the argument's invalid because Detroit's a top 10 offense, and they're going to figure out how to get around you, even if it takes to the 4th quarter. The problem with Detroit is the offensive line. You give Goff even 2 extra seconds, and a touchdown is going to be scored.
Did the Eagles beat the Lions?
Well, yes.
Yeah,
I was going to say
they beat them down.
With all due respect, I think both teams, and this is, I'll just insert myself here. I've loved the back and forth, the epic rap battle of history.
Yeah,
Lions
I didn't want to get in between that. I was just letting
we were letting them fight, Brian. But I think it's time we insert ourselves as just non-biased because
they're at the kids' table fighting with the adults in the Thanksgiving.
I was going to say. There was a little bit of bias in that debate there. Respectfully to both of you, you're both brilliant. But
no, because I know it's going to be a close game. It's going to come right to the end.
For sure,
the Packers beat us.
For sure,
it's a revenge game.
Absolutely, and I just think my issue with the Lions has kind of been that they've definitely have allowed themselves to get wiped out. I've seen that offense at times this year look lost. And that's been frustrating as a fan because I'm not a Lions fan, but maybe through you, Anthony, through osmosis, I've picked up on some of the love for them. They're like the Bills. They're the lovable underdog loser historically. So I kind of have a lot of love for the Lions. And it's been pretty painful to watch. I always have faith in them, and I've seen them just really spin their wheels at times this season in a dogfight with the Giants, losing outright to the Eagles in a game where they never really showed up whatsoever. Goff's worst game as a pro. He looked like JJ McCarthy in that game. But Adrian, same to you. I mean, the Packers, we talked about it earlier. I thought they were going to be the team to beat in the NFC. They had statement wins first 2 weeks of the season. I was like, this is going to be one of those teams that's like, you can't play your starters on defense in fantasy against them because their defense is so good. They're gonna go into the playoffs at 14-3, 15-2. They lost to the Browns. They lost to the Panthers.
And the Panthers at home.
They are absolutely they're gettable. You can get the Packers. And so I think this is going to be kind of a rock and a hard place game for those two teams. And I don't know if it's going to be one of those games where the offenses look lost and Jordan Love's chucking up, prayers and Jared Goff looks lost, or if this is going to be one of those games, which is what I'm hoping for. Oh my God, please let it be a shootout. Oh my God, give me the over 100 times out of 100. I don't know if, I want it and I'm going to bet it, but I don't know if analytically I think it's a good decision because we've seen these two teams offensively throw up all over themselves, and they both do have formidable defenses. So it'll be really fun. That's kind of where I'm at. I think it's going to be a trenches game. Whatever team gets more push, I think will pull ahead. And that's all I'll say before we get to the prediction portion. I do want to let Brian McFadden cook because he's got that mad scientist notebook over there. He's ready to roll.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Where do I start? Where do I start with this? Okay. Let's talk about, I'm going to try to follow the notes that Adrian said in that order. I might get it wrong. So we talked about Jared Goff under pressure. He was under pressure a lot in that Giants game. He looked uncomfortable, and it was even worse. You guys mentioned, I don't think I would compare to J.J. McCarthy in the week prior against the Eagles. This offensive line hasn't been as good this year for Detroit, and Jared Goff, we all know, once you get pressure, especially at the middle, because he doesn't have the same mobile and scrambling ability as a lot of these other modern quarterbacks, can be quite the issue. So let's start with that there. And who do the Packers have? Micah Parsons, who wasn't even on the team in week 1 when Green Bay won the first time, and they still sacked Goff 4 times in that game. By the way, that score, 27-13, 40 total points would have been the under. So I am banging the under in this game. I do think it's a cringe game. I do think it's low scoring. Completely agreeing with Adrian Jair. Let's talk about the only reason that the Lions beat the Giants last game was Jahmyr Gibbs. They ran basically the same outside zone concept multiple times, and the Giants just had no way to solve it. And Gibbs, as amazingly talented and fast as he is, just kept breaking off those big runs. Well, guess what? Who do you think is the number 1 team in the NFL against defending outside run concepts? Yes, that's right, the Green Bay Packers.
Oh boy.
They are literally the strength to stop the one thing that the Lions did just to beat a, let's face it, subpar, although fun, Giants team. Jared Goff threw the ball 42 times last game. 25 of those throws went to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. 25 went to 2 players. 17 total targets went to all of the rest of the Lions, which means if you're able to just hone in on those guys, you don't need to have, it's okay if you let up a play here and there, but if you just try to stop those guys and get pressure on Goff, it's actually a fairly simple recipe. Not having Laporta is something that people aren't really talking about. Such a huge outlet that is not going to be available. Brock Wright, I'm sorry, is no substitute there. Jameson, we can't count on Jameson Williams. He's got the talent, but he will go whole games, like last game, with literally not a single catch. And it's not just because he's not targeted. He actually had a couple bad drops in that game. Let's talk about the other side of the ball. Let's talk about the Packers. Jordan Love is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Even though he's not putting up huge numbers, statistically, metrically, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL against man and against blitz. What do the Lions defense like to run? A lot of man, and they like to blitz the quarterback. So unless they change that, which they could go to more, dropping more into coverage, more of zone coverage based, force the Packers to run the ball, which is probably their best bet. It's also why I think the score could be lower, because if they do decide to man up and blitz Love, he had some really great throws in week 1 against the Lions when they brought extra pass rushers on him. And then we said it before, the Packers already played him once. They beat him 27-13, and that was before they had Micah Parsons, who has finally found his groove as a Packer and is playing at the top of his game. I wanted to pick the Lions at Thanksgiving at home. I know we're not doing picks yet, but I think it's pretty clear which way I'm leaning here.
That's good to hear. I got to tell you, and I don't know if you guys agree, I'm sure you do. Money Mac is such a wealth of football knowledge that when he says I agree with insert your name, it feels like it warms your heart. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh no, it's right. Great.
Absolutely.
It's an honor.
That's a good
I feel like I'm being awarded something.
That's a good confidence boost.
It's almost relief. It's like he's not going to slam me today. He agrees with me.
But Age, if you've been in the trenches with Brian McFadden long enough, you have to know one of the things Brian McFadden loves the most is to be challenged. And therefore, I will step to the plate here and I'll say that I'm leaning the other way. And I said it could be biased. I am very charmed by the Lions historically, and maybe it's Anthony. That's my dog. Maybe it's the history of losing. I don't know, but I genuinely think you talked about if you can stop those guys. That's the biggest if. That word "if" is doing so much work in that sentence. If you can stop those guys, because who can stop those guys? And if you can stop those guys, they got some good counter punches, man. They got some good counter punches. The Packers defense is solid. And I think the Lions are going to have a tough day at the office. If they use Philly's blueprint, Jared Goff, he has to hot route. Oh my God. The amount of times that I watched Jared Goff hold on to the ball for too long in that game. Oh my God. It's so frustrating. And I know it's really easy to say that from the couch. Like I do it all the time with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's taking a lot of sacks this year. And I'm like, just throw the ball. And it's the easiest thing to say. But really, I mean, imagine the difference. The difference is seconds. It's not even seconds. It's fractions of seconds. Anthony said it. You give Goff an extra second, he's gonna make you pay. Brock Wright's not the safety blanket that Sam Laporta is, but I like some of their ancillary pieces. I like David Montgomery. I like Jameson Williams to get loose in this game for a big play. When the Packers have the ball, meanwhile, how inept has their offense looked at times this year? How inept has their offense at times? They've looked
Couldn't agree more.
at times, and I'm the pot calling the kettle black, man. My favorite team is having the same struggles. I'm over here slinging rocks from my glass house, 100%. But we're not talking about my team. We're talking about y'all's teams. Packers offense at times this year looks lost. Jordan Love at times this year is throwing up 50-50 balls that are more like 40-60. And I think he needs to utilize his legs a little bit more. I'm really hoping he runs a little bit more in this game. Brian, I love the usage of metrics in your debate. And another feather in your cap here, I'll say.
I got my charts.
You got your chart. The charts are they're out to play.
They're alive and well.
Brian is the one who taught me what DVOA is.
I love DVOA.
I didn't know what DVOA. He introduced me to that, and I'm like, that's amazing.
Football Outsiders.
Yeah.
Love Football Outsiders, man. I gotta say it's
technically they don't exist anymore. But that's all.
Oh, is that right? Oh, all
yeah.
Right.
Aaron Schatz, who created it, now works for FTN because Football Outsiders closed down. But
Schatz is great, man. He's one of the best in the business.
Mm-hmm.
He created DVOA, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the best.
That's
in the
right.
business.
So he could take it with him. He got hired by FTN.
So it's still a thing.
It's still a thing. He still has the DVOA. It's just under FTN instead of Football Outsiders.
Sick. Little football, little industry lore for you guys.
Little opening up the kimono.
Yeah, exposing the bathrobe, as Adrian likes to say. Yeah, I'm more gut here than charts, but it's home. They need this. I think if they want to contend for the division, I think they need this game. I think this game is kind of like who's going to take that stranglehold over the division lead, because you already pointed out multiple times Green Bay did really put the kids are saying belt to butt. That's the new phrase for like you really whooped them. Like they're putting belt to butt. It's actually belt to a word, but family show.
I thought it was 6'7".
Oh, hey, Money Mag.
I got a 12-year-old kid. I know.
The
kids say it, so I can say it too.
I love that. That's one of my favorite drops. I'm gonna, and I'll kick off the picks here. I'll do it with my chest. I'll take the Lions in this one. I'll take the over. I'll take 30-27. And then we'll kick it back over to the fanboys. And Brian, you wrap us up because you really. I mean, I think we actually no, Brian, make your pick because we know who you're.
Yeah, no, we let
make
them
your pick, and we'll let them wrap it up.
So I think it's clear I am going to go the Packers. Definitely not going anywhere near the 57 points that you're projecting. There was a point that I was just going to make. The play calling worries me. I know that Dan Campbell took it over in that Washington game, and they look good. Washington defense has actually sneakily been one of the worst in the league. They have not looked the same, minus a few Jahmyr Gibbs runs against the Giants, and certainly against the entire game against the Eagles. So I am worried about that play calling. I do think this is a low-scoring game. I'm going to say 20-17 Green Bay Packers.
I love it. And do we know if Jacobs is playing? Has Jacobs been ruled in or out?
Not confirmed yet, but
not confirmed. But
last I saw he was out.
I think the fact that they sat him this week when he was on the verge of playing tells you that they were saving him specifically for the Thanksgiving game. I would be surprised if he doesn't play.
And Wilson filled in formidably, but he's not Jacobs.
Well.
Jacobs is kind of an X factor.
He filled in formidably, but he had like less than 4 yards of carries because they gave him a crap ton of volume, which is fine. But Josh Jacobs, you need him in this game. Emmanuel Wilson is not a difference maker.
Jacobs is undebatably a top 8 back, debatably a top 5 back in the league. So definitely makes a difference. Age, I apologize. You're my dog, but I had to teeter the other way here. Take us home.
It's so okay. You know what I'm going to say? This is the last thing I'll say on the game. Is the one point you did make, which I didn't bring up, and we probably haven't given enough love to in this little recap, is that how much this game means to both teams.
Yeah.
If the Packers win, they've swept the Lions. That could very much matter at the end of it. If the Lions win, they even it up. It could very much matter at the end of it. And whoever loses is now 2 games behind the freaking Bears, which I can't believe I'm saying. So, and the one thing I will say is no matter what you say about their play calling and pressure and this and that, the Lions step up to the spotlight. They come to play and they do not shy away from the moment. The Packers have absolutely been known to do that. So I'm scared, and my heart is going to override my head, and I'm still going to pick the Packers, but I'm going to say 17-14 in a fight.
Woo!
in an
17,
exciting
14.
in an exciting dogfight in a fourth down turnovers because aggressive play calling because you take the points where you can and sacks galore. It's going to be glorious. And for what it's worth, it's 5 a.m. my time. I'm still going to be up watching it.
You better.
And cheering on my boys.
Oh wow.
Hell yeah. Love it. Love the pick. It's low. You should do an alternative spread if you're picking 17, 14. You can make some more money than just the under on 48.5. Go down. Go down to 40.
I actually might. I might.
Yeah, go down for Brian. Brian picked it too. Brian picked 37 points.
37. Yeah.
Pick the under 40. Make some
I'm
money.
gonna see what that's currently paying while Ant makes his pick.
So I'm gonna because I think it's gonna be a shit. We got both teams are going to come in so aggressively, so emotional. You can't win games just off emotion, and so they're definitely going to both come in with the game plan. We're going to score early. We're going to get yards. We're going to get into the end zone. We're going to make red zone trips. We're going to score on those red zone trips, and it's going to be back and forth. That mentality.
That's I love it. He sounds like he's trying to put it into the universe like it's wishful thinking.
I'm manifesting it.
It's a wish
You're
cast.
manifesting it. That's analysis right there when you manifest.
I love it.
I like it.
And so I have to go. I can't imagine the game ending, and I'm looking at the final score, and it doesn't have the number with the 3 in front of it or a 4 in front of it. I think that Detroit is going to somehow win it.
Yep.
I'm terrified to say it because honestly, it's a tough matchup for both teams, really. They're a little tired. They did go into overtime. They have to play extra football. They're probably pretty sore today. So I'm worried about the fatigue factor.
Fair.
And Gibbs went over 260 yards. He probably couldn't walk the next day. It's like doing CrossFit. And so I'm worried about that. So I'm like, maybe we'll see more David Montgomery. There's a lot of new elements might be introduced. But then I thought, the Packers played too. The fatigue might, cancel it out. And so we'll see.
Josh Jacobs didn't play.
There you go. Fresh legs.
Fresh legs.
Oh no! If he plays, we're done.
That was the point. That was the one that finally sent Anthony over the edge.
It's a big variable for me. Yeah, I haven't weighed him into the analysis too heavily. But if you guys seem to think there's a good chance he plays,
I would be surprised if he doesn't.
He's currently just because I'm looking at the betting sites right now. So plus 350 for that under 40 score, and he is currently tied favorite. That's definitely the wrong word to use, but him and Emmanuel Wilson are both paying the same for an anytime touchdown. So I would.
And they're the most in the game. They're the most. They're
highest in the Packers. Yeah, highest in the Packers. Jimmy Gibbs is
on the
highest
Packers,
in the game.
but Gibbs is okay.
Oh
I
yeah.
had a feeling.
But the fact that they're paying the same tells me that if he's playing, he's not fully healthy, and they're probably going to be splitting reps.
Yeah. And take us home, man. What do you got for us? Give us a score.
I'm gonna go 42-30.
Ooh!
Detroit Lions.
Now you do the same.
72 points.
You take that alternate over as well.
To 38.
Yeah, go get your money. Go
It's
get
gonna
your
be
money.
a Jake Bates kicking the game winner at the end.
That'd be playing plus 2,600.
Yeah,
Oh wow. Wow.
Go.
I
Get on.
do think even because they're going to become so aggressive and maybe even towards the end a little desperate that the offenses are just going to turn into super humans and just score a bunch of touchdowns. And I've been wrong before. I'm trying not to be biased either.
Haven't we all?
What's that like? I never have been.
But yeah, that's my prediction. I think Detroit covers and wins somehow.
Yeah.
At home with the energy coming off a win. They're going to be aggressive. It's just chip on the shoulder. It's a revenge game. They're going to come out with everything.
Hey, same here, bro. Thanks, Anthony, for hopping in. We appreciate you. Producer extraordinaire.
Go Lions.
There you go. And Skull State of Mind. What's popping? Good to see you. Next up, we have Brian McFadden taking over to lead the charge as the formerly indubitable Kansas City Chiefs traveling to the currently kind of tumultuous Dallas Cowboys. And we have Dallas Cowboys at home in Jerry World as 3.5-point dogs with an over-under a little more my speed, 52.5. Brian McFadden, take it away.
How juicier is this game now since Dallas came back from 21 points to beat the Philadelphia Eagles last week? That has given this game, I've seen a lot of predictions that this will be the most watched NFL game in history because of the two teams that are involved and because of the time slot. Thanksgiving always is the highest numbers outside of like the regular season game. Obviously, we're not talking about the Super Bowl. And I think it's going to live up to the billing. We've seen the fruits of those trade deadline deals. You know, Jerry Jones does some crazy stuff, but it looks like the deals he made, at least for Quinnen Williams, if nothing else, but also having DeMarcus Overshown coming back from injury. Suddenly, this is a real stat, guys. You guys know that the Cowboys had one of the worst run defenses to start the season, right? It was just you had the Giants, the Dolphins, the Bengals, and the Cowboys. Some of the just if your running back was playing them in fantasy or it was daily fantasy, you're setting lineup, you were going against them. The Dallas Cowboys are the number one run defense in the NFL of the past 2 weeks. Number one. Now, granted, that was against. Well, no, we don't say granted. I know that the Phillies, they still have Saquon. They're not quite the same, but
right.
Number one run defense of the past 2 weeks. Now, is it just short sample size? Sure. But just the fact that their defense was a laughingstock earlier in the season, like this team is legit. Dak is actually playing some of his best football. He actually is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL right now against play action. Javonte Williams has been a refreshing. I had personally written him off, and look at what he's able to do. He doesn't need to be a stud. He doesn't need to be a Jonathan Taylor or Jahmyr Gibbs type. But he has been efficient. He has been averaging well over 4 yards per carry, and it's enough to set up the play action. Pickens has been insane. This offense is just rolling on all cylinders. The Chiefs, on the other hand, this is the worst they've been in a season in the entire Patrick Mahomes era. They are on pace. It is going to be a long shot. Look at Kev's getting so excited. It is a long shot for them to win their division. That has literally never happened while Patrick Mahomes has been the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have won the division every single year. Right now, as we mentioned earlier in the show, they're not even in the playoffs if the season were to end today. However, I do think the fact that they were able to come back and win that game against the Colts is going to rejuvenate them. I think they needed that. That game was more make or break than a lot of people would really realize. So the fact that the Chiefs were able to pull that one off is big. Couple things to know. Dallas, they really need to. They've been running a lot of zone, right? Matt Eberflus is known for running a zone-based defense as the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, but that's not going to work. The Chiefs, when they have been able to score a lot of points, it has been zone. Rashee Rice is a zone destroyer. We all know how good Kelsey is against zone. And Dallas doesn't necessarily have the dogs for this, but if they want to stand a chance, they're going to have to run man press. Press those receivers, press Rice, press Worthy at the line. Hope that if they're letting up these completions to Kelsey and the rest of the receivers, it's shorter, just like get the guy as soon as he gets open, as opposed to Rashee Rice running with 2 yards of separation in zone, and then he gets another 30 yards of yak after that. Easier said than done. I do think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be more exciting than had Dallas not traded for Quinnen Williams. Can Williams get pressure up the front? Trey Smith, Pro Bowl guard for the Chiefs, is out for this game. That could be a key matchup, right? With Quinnen Williams, is he able to get pressure up the front to Mahomes? If they're running man, that's important too, because what can Mahomes do when you're running man? He'll take off and run if he has. He's one of the most efficient scramblers in the NFL and has been for years. So just throwing a whole bunch of stuff out there to give you guys food for thought before we come back and do our picks. But the thing that excites me the most is that this is actually an exciting game, and even 3 weeks ago, we couldn't have said that.
Absolutely, man. And as per usual, just bang up job getting in the weeds there. I absolutely love the depth with which you cover football. It's a gift having you back on the show. I know the 423 people in the chat are feeling the same way. Give some love to Money Mac, please. Tell him to come back to us. But I got to jump back in and I got to give you some flowers here. I love the specific game plan analysis that you brought to the table with press man coverage. I do think that would be an interesting approach, given that, yes, their zone destroyers, Rice and Kelsey. They do have some elite separators, however, in press man coverage. Xavier Worthy, famously, fastest man in NFL history.
But it's the press part of that. He is
right,
very bad against press.
Right,
he's like 140
washed. Right.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some creative ways that they can try to scheme him open. I don't really. Andy Reid's one of the best play callers in NFL history. He's a wizard, so I wouldn't put it past him to try to figure out a way around that. But that being said, like I said, I'll give you your kudos that I think that's a really good call as far as how they should attack. Meanwhile, when Dallas has the ball, I do think the key is going to be much like Detroit. I think you're going to want to neutralize that Kansas City pass rush because obviously, oh my goodness, does Dallas have the dogs when it comes to weapons? Oh my goodness, how fun has George Pickens' resurgence been to watch? Mm-hmm. He is turning into one of my favorite wide receivers to watch. He gets open. He gets explosive after the catch. Almost every single time he catches the ball, he's a threat. He's a lunatic. He's kind of an interesting guy. You know, he's a little eccentric, we'll say, for lack of a better term. But the fact that I'm talking about Dallas weapons and CeeDee Lamb wasn't the first name I brought up, kind of interesting. Crazy. I love CeeDee Lamb, equally incredible. One of the best separators I've ever seen. Also really good yak, some of the best hands I've ever seen. CeeDee Lamb's never covered.
Lately have dropped
he's got the drop. He's got a little bit of the droppies.
Yeah.
We're going to have to clean that up, CeeDee. But Jake Ferguson is showing out as a reliable zone beater, reliable safety blanket. I like their ancillary pieces, man. I love watching Kavontae Turpin on an end around, man. Really, he's been fun to watch in that.
Even earlier in the season, Ryan Flournoy.
Yeah, right? Flournoy had a nice little game.
I mean, they just have the depth they have on offenses. It's fun to watch, and Dak is at the top of this game.
They got some dogs, man. And yeah, Dak's been, probably the most underrated quarterback in football, in my opinion, last handful of years. So I do like focusing on Kansas City with the ball because at the end of the day, they have 15 and you don't. There's 3 or 4 guys in the NFL, maybe more with this resurgence of the new school. There's 3 or 4 guys in the NFL that you can say that about, where you can say the game is different because we have X and you don't. Mahomes, Josh, Lamar, Burrow. End of list, maybe Stafford, May. I don't know. They're this year. They're the two. They're the cream of the crop this year. But Mahomes, and he's running this year, Brian, which I'm loving to see. Oh my God, I'm loving to see. What did I just say? I just gushed about Mahomes. You
picked the Patriots as your offseason darling. You're gushing about Mahomes. You shaved your head. This is not the same Kevin Phillip Fox.
This is Kevin's twin.
This is me crying out for help. I am locked in a closet in North Hollywood. Please come save me. No, I think this game comes down to, like Brian said, the momentum. Kansas City coming back, winning in overtime kind of swings the momentum in their favor. But I think Dallas has been one of the hottest teams, like you said, Brian, on defense especially. KC's run game is respectfully doo-doo. You still got Kareem Hunt, who's somehow, some way still their lead back, which is just ridiculous. Brashard Smith is cool. He's got flashes here and there, but I'm not really scared of them on the ground. So if they try to attack Dallas through the air, which is where Dallas has been more susceptible, especially as of late, I think they could have success with the zone beaters. But this is why the over-under is 52.5. And this is why, before I make my pick, I'll send it over to Adrian. But I took all the food for thought, Brian. I stuffed it down, and I'm just about full. And now I need Adrian.
You're letting it digest. It needs.
I need to digest while Adrian cleans up the plate. Lick it dry.
Turkey bones over here. No. Everything you said was correct, and I agree with you. I think that over, it couldn't be high enough that there's no over that they could give me that I wouldn't take. Line that they could give me that I wouldn't take the over. I feel like you're right, Brian. Is that like the having a zone defense is fantastic, but if you got someone like Mahomes who can diagnose before and after the snap and who can find those soft spots in the zone and hit them no problems with a yard of separation, it's like it will stop him once in a while. And Quinton Williams has been an excellent pickup since, as you mentioned, since taking him on. The Cowboys were ranked like 31st in overall defense like 4 weeks ago, and now if I remember right, and I'm going off the noggin here, but I think they're fifth in rush. Fifth in run stop and 7th in pass rush win rate, which is just like you would never expect that a few weeks ago. So he was a great pickup. You got to give it to him. And Kenny Clark, who I said when he went over to the Cowboys, I still love the guy and he can still do some things. But I do feel like this is going to be one of those games where, like what Ant was talking about with the Lions Packers, I feel like this is going to be the Chiefs and Cowboys, and it's going to be an absolute shootout. And can I pick first since I'm the last one? I'm just going to throw my pick out. I'm going to say 31-30 in overtime. Yeah, in overtime to the no, actually that can't actually happen.
No, it can. It can. If one gets a touchdown and the other goes for 2 or gets the 2, it can happen.
But can it work out where they're even? You know what? Doesn't matter. 31-30. I'm not going to say 31-30. Cowboys way. Because I feel like Dak is absolutely balling out. You're so right about George Pickens, and the beauty about George Pickens, and what I feel like when you talk about wide receiver duos, and you think about like your Jamar Chase and your T Higgins, or you think about AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. Yeah, is there's a clear 1 and 2 here. Now I think George Pickens doesn't get enough flowers for being as close to CeeDee Lamb or as close to a wide receiver 1 as Eddie 2 has been so far. I feel like CeeDee Lamb takes a lot of the attention, a lot of the spotlight, a lot of the doubles, and that's why George Pickens is killing it. But if they swap those doubles, I don't think it would be a difference. I think they're that close, at least this season.
It's the numbers say Pickens is the one. I mean, obviously that's because of the bracket coverage to CD's side, the extra attention he gets, yada yada. Right, and CD missed time, right? Like all that.
From a skill perspective, if you had to pick,
well, CD's
as close to a 1A, 1B.
I think CD's a better receiver. I think he's just more complete. But Pickens
is just on fire right now.
He's just growing into what we always thought he could be, and just had freaking Kenny Pickett throwing him the ball. So I digress there. But I love the moxie on the pick, Adrian. I think you shot for the ceiling, and I like the overtime call, man. I like that. I respect it. I respect the overtime call. I think
31-30 could go that way. It could be touchdown, 2 points. I'm taking it. I'll stick on overtime.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I like it. I like the, throw down a 5 on overtime. It'll probably pay out $100. I gotta also do the same thing. I don't usually like to be biased. I obviously hate the Chiefs, but I do really am loving what I'm seeing from Dallas. The fact that they beat Philadelphia last week and they showed the moxie to come down from 21. Really, that was just, they were getting throat punched and they swung back, man. And that's one thing about the Cowboys teams in recent years that I haven't seen a lot of. I haven't seen a lot of that grit. This is a gritty team and that's fun. The Dallas Cowboys being gritty is fun. I don't think they've been gritty ever in my life. I don't, maybe the Romo years, they had some grit to them, the Marion Barber years. But this team, they're not playing entitled, man. They're playing like a team that knows that they got to win a lot of games fast if they want to make any sort of noise in the NFC playoffs. And that's dangerous to me. So I'm going to give some love to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to take them to win this game. I'll say, let's get some weird stuff going on. I don't know if this is scoregami, but it feels like a scoregami kind of game. I'm going to say 36-31 Dallas.
Another over.
Over and cover. Over and both. That's one of my faves.
I had to do it.
That's one of my faves.
I did not see that coming. I have no idea what just happened. I feel like I went on an acid trip.
Yep, literally. It's the fastest ass trip you're ever gonna have. I was saving Bet Kev's rent for a later segment, but that's okay. I'm glad we introduced it to Brian.
It's my fault. I'm sorry, Anthony, who should absolutely, I should not step on toes by pressing drops, but I had to do it.
That's a good one. That's a fun one. Brian, take it away. Take us home.
I would love nothing more than for the Cowboys to win this game. I'm really enjoying this Cowboys team, everything about them. Like I said, from Javonte Williams' resurgence to Pickens really coming into his own, to the Jake Ferguson scoring all the touchdowns. And I've always been a fan of Dak. And now that they actually have a defense, I just love everything about them. But I do think this game, as much as I was talking up the Cowboys earlier, I do think it actually lends itself to be a Chiefs victory. I don't think either team is really going to have much success on the ground, so I am leaning more towards your guys that, unlike the previous game we talked about, I do think it's going to be more points scored. I'm not ready to go into the 30s like you guys, but I am going to predict that the Chiefs will win 27-24 in the most watched game in regular season game in NFL history.
This much under, Brian.
Just
this much.
Just under.
And Ant is, I believe, just over. Is it 51.5 or 52?
So all three of you guys picked the Cowboys. I'm the only one to pick the Chiefs. Interesting.
Okay. Just under just under the line for Ant,
because it's 53, right?
It's 52.5. So
52.5. Oh, so yeah, he's literally right under it.
Yeah, I man, this is gonna be a fun one. Yeah, I'm sat. I'm sat. That's all I'll say. Ladies and gentlemen, we got one more Thanksgiving Day game for you to cover, and I will be taking the first stab at it. We have the Joe Burrow led, the return of Joe Burrow.
Thankfully.
Yeah,
I'm done with Flacco and all.
Yeah, it was it was a fun little moment, man. Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers Bowl. They can never take that away from us. The Joe Burrow led Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Baltimore, Maryland, to take on the Lamar Jackson led Baltimore Ravens. who are 7-point
7-point favorites.
home favorites with an
I haven't looked at the line
over,
yet.
once again, of 51.5. Thank you,
Ooh.
God. Oh my goodness. If we could just get all the points on Thanksgiving, I will just be the happiest boy. This game starts and ends with two teams that are not where they're supposed to be, but are both on the right track. I've been extremely disappointed as a Jamar Chase fantasy owner. I've lucked into the 101 in almost, I think like 3 different redraft leagues, which I'm in like maybe 8. I had the 101 in 3 of them, so I have a lot of Jamar Chase shares. And so the Jake Browning experiment and like you said, Brian, the Joe Flacco experience. Oof, what a long year it's been for us. And Joe Burrow's back. And that's
wasn't there a game where Flacco threw 20 times to Jamar Chase? It wasn't all bad.
it was the Steelers game, and I believe he might have had maybe 16 receptions or something
That's
insane. Something gaudy like that. But Joe, I'm sure we all can agree that a Joe Flacco target less than sign a Joe Burrow target in a vacuum. So I'm excited for the reunion of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're gonna have T. Higgins. Suffered a pretty gnarly concussion last week, so heal up, T. Higgins. We need you back for the playoffs. Ooh, I don't know about that one. Well, we need you back for those week 16 and 7. We need you back for the fantasy playoffs at the bare minimum. Chase Brown's been pretty solid this year, but the story of the Bengals is what the story of the Bengals was last year. It's a terrible offensive line and a terrible defense. They are truly, and honestly, I think pretty bad coaching. I've never been a Zach Taylor fan, but
You haven't, have you?
I've always thought he was overrated. Watching the Bengals lose that game to the Jets was maybe the feather in the cap for me, where I'm like, this guy shouldn't have a job. And I've thought that for a long time. But that was the feather in the cap where I'm like, every second that Zach Taylor continues to helm that organization, I think they're hurting themselves. I really do. I don't think you should have a quarterback of Burrow's caliber with the money invested in him and miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. I know injuries, I know defense, yada, yada, but we all agree on this pod. This is a very pro Lou Anarumo podcast. I think he was a scapegoat. Because they haven't had the dogs
this year.
I think that's clear. I think that's not up for debate.
They haven't had the dogs on that side of the ball, and that's clear as day. On the other side of the ball, we have one of the most interesting 6-5 teams in NFL history. They started out 1-5. They started out on hard mode. It was pretty funny. Like, they really made their path to the playoffs so difficult. And this is kind of a fun analogy. I kind of thought of an NBA analogy, Brian. I know you hate talking about basketball and legit football, but I have an NBA analogy for you. I watch a lot of basketball, and a lot of the times a team who is supposed to win the game will be down some gaudy number in the third quarter. And there's like 10 minutes left in the third quarter. They're down 40 points, 30 points. And you're like, how the hell is this team that's clearly better than that other team down 30? How are they going to pull themselves how are they going to pull a rabbit out of their hat in this one? And then by 5 minutes left in the third quarter, somehow they're in the lead. And you're like, well, that was weird. That's what I thought was going to happen. This is what we all thought was going to happen. The Ravens started out the second half in a basketball game down 30, and it's not even the fourth quarter, and they're back in the lead. And it's kind of frustrating because I was, as a perennial person who's terrified of facing Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, even though the Bills are 2-0 against the Ravens in the playoffs. Fun fact for you. I'm terrified of them. They scare the lights out of me. They Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and that O-line and that historically tough defense. They haven't really been too tough this year, but that historically tough defense, I don't want to see them in the dance. And they're already back in the 4 seed. They're already back in the lead of the AFC North, which is nauseating as a Bills fan, because if the Bills are, the 5 seed, which they could very well be with the, Patriots leading the division, that's a terrifying matchup. So the Ravens, they're back where we all thought they were going to be. I think it's pretty clear as day, unfortunately, that Lamar is not playing at 100% right now. So I think he needs to, get to 100% before we start crowning them. Or I don't know if I can even pick them in good conscience in this game with his health where it is. Brian, I see a face. I think that's an agreement face. It's tough. It sucks to say because you really want this to be Burrow versus Jackson as the headline, but I do feel as though there will be other factors that determine this game. And I think the Ravens, unfortunately, probably their biggest boon to winning this game, I think, will have to be Derrick Henry, who is still looking amazing, still looking almost every bit as good. Maybe lost a step.
Amazing might be a stretch, but very, very solid.
He still has a lot of his old. He makes those plays. He makes those wow plays a couple times a game. I don't think he has that same explosiveness or quickness in the open field, but he's so strong and he's so big that I don't know that he's necessarily going to need it. That's kind of
3.0 yards per carry against the Jets defense that no longer has Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams.
Yeah, that game was a head scratcher. And that's part of what's weird about their resurgence is that it didn't really look all that pretty. It hasn't really been all that convincing.
It's scheduled. They've had
Totally
some easy opponents.
Yeah, never really felt too much like they were gonna come back to the form that they were last year. We'll have to see. Lamar's got to get right. They got to get the defense right. But luckily, the Bengals are kind of easy to tee off on defensively. So I do think that the Ravens will get some juice going in the game. I'd love to see Zay Flowers get going. Maybe let Lamar be a thrower in this game. You know, I mean, I know he's historically one of the best mobile quarterbacks in NFL history, but he's a good passer when you let him pass. So maybe turn Lamar Jackson.
Not recently though. Not recent. Like as in not in his last showing. He looks
like
he's a bit scared to run. To be honest with you, he looks like he's kind of lost maybe a step.
Well, he has not lost a step. I think he's hurt. I don't think you can.
He's very much. He's literally hurt. He has like 4 injury designations: his toe, his ankle, his hamstring, his knee. If you look at the injury report, he has multiple ailments. Did you look at his stat line for the Jets game?
It's
13
not pretty.
for 23, 153 yards, no touchdowns, passer rating of 76.9. Yes. Oh, but maybe he can run 7 rushes. 11 yards, 1.6 yards per carry against the Jets defense that, as I just described, their best players are now on the Colts and the aforementioned Cowboys, and yet they held Lamar to that. If the Jets weren't just bad in general, they would have won this game.
Yeah,
and
it's rough. It's not pretty offensively for the Ravens right now.
All right, I'm going to take that as my cue to run with
it's all you. Okay, take off.
Cool. I mean, you kind of already started. I wanted to start with those stats because that was just
gaudy.
I don't think he's lost a step in general. I do think it is a health issue, but that health issue is clearly showing up. But here's another health issue that is something to really pay attention to. Their other best player is Kyle Hamilton. He is maybe the number 1 safety in the NFL. He got injured in that Jets game. He was limping. He left. He is back to practicing in a limited fashion. But even if he plays, which it looks like he will, is he going to be at 100%? This defense, you mentioned it, Kev, is not the same Ravens defense we've known in the past, back when Mike McDonald was the defensive coordinator and they had Matt Abikwe in the middle that was just stuffing anybody who tried to run up the middle. They don't have those studs. Kyle Hamilton is that stud, and if he's not at 100% and Lamar isn't at 100%, who do they have left to lean on? Luckily, the Bengals have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. They're also the worst team in the NFL against tight ends. By a large margin, they're allowing about 90 yards per game to tight ends. The next closest is Jacksonville at 74. So this is a team that is, you can attack them with Andrews, you can attack them with Likely, and I do think you're going to have a ground and pound game. But on the other side of the ball, you've got Joe Burrow coming back on an offense that was putting up 30-something points a game with Joe Flacco. And then you've got a Ravens defense with their best player who's not at 100% and it hasn't been that great of a defense anyway. It is shaping up so much. Even the narrative of Burrow coming back and trying to make it run, it is shaping up to be, I do agree, high scoring, but a game that I don't really see, even without Higgins, the Bengals losing. Even though it's on the road.
Take the +7. No,
7?
do you think that won't cover though? Surely not cover.
No, it's 7. The Ravens are favored.
If the Bengals win, you can just bet Bengals money line.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, go money line or just bet the spread if you're not even confident enough to go money line. That 7-point spread for the Ravens is crazy. They had to struggle to beat the Jets at home by 23, but that scored. I mean, by 13, but that game
ballooned in the fourth.
It ballooned at the end. Right.
It was not close whatsoever. Yeah, Brian, I really like where you're coming from, and I do think I'm trending towards picking the Bengals as well. But it's tough to do when we just haven't seen it, and especially on defense. Like, I mean, Derrick Henry is suiting up in this game, and Derrick Henry is at least 80% of the Derrick Henry that he was last year, maybe a little bit more. And the Lamar health variable is huge, but Lamar himself has gone on the record this week of saying, I'm not struggling because I'm not healthy. I'm struggling because we're not executing. I don't know if I believe him. I know.
No.
He looks like,
we have all seen Lamar for the last 4 or 5 years, 2 MVPs. Like, no, we know this is not it. It's a health thing.
He looks banged up. He looks super banged up. And I mean, just how do you make him pay if you're the Bengals on defense when, like, it's a stoppable force meeting a movable object.
Yeah, which is why, unlike the other 2 games, I am banging the over on this one. I do think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game because both defense aren't equipped to stop.
Where do they come from on Baltimore side? Henry?
It's got to be Henry. Oh, I think it's a big Henry game.
Andrews?
And tight ends, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think because
don't let him. Lamar doesn't need to hold the ball. Just get the short passes to your tight ends. Give Derrick Henry the ball 30 times a game. You might not even need 30 carries because this Bengals run defense is so bad.
Yeah.
Just
could hit some home runs.
Yeah.
We're looking for scheduled, like dink and dunk, like Shanahan style, McDaniel style.
Or throw in some of those wrinkled tush pushes where Andrews fakes it and runs 30 yards.
That was
sick.
sick.
Do stuff like that.
That was such a sick play.
Yeah. Keaton Mitchell has every time he gets the ball, he does something.
So explosive.
It doesn't even have to just be Henry, but I do think they're going to rely on that kind of physical ground and pound. Get the tight ends going. Maybe you get some yak out of Zay Flowers as well, but I don't think they should have Lamar going back and trying to throw the ball down the field. He's clearly not healthy enough to do that. And I don't care what he says about execution. When Lamar freaking Jackson is averaging 1.6 yards a carry, there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, bad. Oh, you're muted, Age.
My analysis was so good, it just cut off his mic.
Speechless.
I had to turn it off. Yeah, I think the health can't be understated here because when the schedule makers were putting this on Thanksgiving, they were like licking their chops. And then you got T. Higgins out with a concussion, you got Burrow and Lamar returned from injury. And there's, like you said, Brian, there's no denying it. Lamar could say whatever he wants. We all saw him not running against the Vikings and getting caught when he tried to run. I think, though, the points are going to come because this Bengals defense sucks and Hendrickson's out. And I look, this is just a stab. I have not looked this up, but I would guess that if you looked up the rate of missed tackles in the NFL, I would put the Bengals somewhere in the bottom 5 of the league at best. So I think you're right. You get these dink and dunk offense, but you get your yards after the catch because you make a man miss, you make 2 men miss. I'm going to go the over here as well. This is another bet Kev's rent. But I think I just wanted to make a higher philosophical point to what you're not thankful for, Kevin, is like, this game looked, I mean, it's still going to be fun and it's still going to be great, but like primetime Thanksgiving, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, like, and it's kind of like, we don't even know if the Bengals are making the playoffs. The Ravens are
very likely
the
not.
Finish line.
They have such an uphill battle.
They have to win all 6 games and then hope.
Yeah, but they've got the Ravens twice. They've got the Ravens twice. And I actually looked this up before the show. The Steelers, who are also 3 games up on them, but the Steelers play the Bills. They play the Ravens twice. They play the Browns, who have, as we know how fantastic their defense is. They play the Lions. Their only gimme in their final stretch is the Dolphins. And no offense to Brian.
No, none taken. The Dolphins suck.
How much of a gimme are the Dolphins, man? Don't do that.
Well, I mean, they're playing a little better lately. I mean, they did beat the Bills. So.
That's what I'm saying. They're frisky, man.
They're frisky. They can be.
I guess my point is that there is a world where the Bengals are in the playoffs, but I just feel like when we looked at the schedule, and I would wager that if we went back to the off-season show where we looked at the schedule, this might have been ones that we talked about as well because it looked awesome on paper. We may not get what we wanted, but I'm glad to see Burrow's back and I'm glad to see Lamar's back. And so I'm picking the Bengals here, and I'm picking them 28-20.
I want to just, once again, I'm going to praise you, Adrian, because you were right on the money. Team with the most missed tackles on defense, Cincinnati Bengals, 126. Next closest,
crazy.
Pittsburgh Steelers with 93. They have 33.
So they're the worst.
The worst. The 33 more missed tackles than the next closest in Pittsburgh.
Buffalo's got to be up there, I would imagine. Can you tell me where Buffalo is? I bet they're top 5.
No, 56. So they're kind of right in the middle.
That's
actually they're like top. They're actually not. They're like top 10. 12,
I've seen them. I can count 93 missed tackles on one friggin' Devon Achane run. Yeah,
I didn't make my pick. I just realized that.
I love this. Yeah, me neither. And nice. Bengals 22.
And my
Ravens
laptop's
21.
gonna die in like 5 minutes. So I
Money
need
Mac,
to
take it
get
away.
out. Okay. Yeah, I'm. This is of the 3 Thanksgiving games. This is the one I'm picking over. I think that both teams are just going to find ways to score. And honestly, if you remember the Bengals and Ravens games last year, they were like 60-point explosions. So I'm going to go Cincinnati 34, Baltimore 28. Joe Burrow comes back, is victorious on Thanksgiving to close out our Thanksgiving spectacular.
Absolutely, and I love it. I think it's a solid pick. I think it's tough. This is kind of a similar situation. My heart is telling me Bengals because all the analysis is pointing to that. But Baltimore's Baltimore, man. They're a juggernaut. They find a way to win. I have so much respect for them. I do think Harbaugh's losing a little bit of that.
That's
sheen.
the Bills fan in you. That you're jaded.
We own them. We beat them the last 3 times we played them. You know, like I mean, 2 out of the last 3, 3 out of the last 4. Regardless, yeah, it's too hard to pick Baltimore right now. I think Harbaugh's lost a step as a coach. I really do. I think he's a sneaky hot seat candidate. I don't think right now.
Whoa, no. That's okay. Now you're talking crazy.
No,
All
but
right.
I interesting point.
Sneaky hot seat candidate. I said it.
I get it.
I
get
think
it,
your
but-
dessert went bad at Thanksgiving and it's affecting.
Sneaky hot seat candidate. I'm saying it with my chest. I'm the whisperer, man. You guys all called me crazy when I said the Texans, the Commanders, the Patriots. Come on, we all know. Sneaky hot seat candidate.
I agree with you. Funnily enough, I don't know if he's. I feel like there's some point where Ernest is going to be like, well, we can't get to the dance with this dude.
Yeah, honestly.
Roll the dice because you don't know if you're going to get better. But if at some point you convince yourself that he's not going to be the one to take you there, well, then you got to roll the dice.
There's been some coaching malpractice this year in Baltimore with John Harbaugh. I know it happens every year with every player. I think Brian's laptop died. Look at him.
Yeah.
That boy's laptop is completely dead. That is really handsome freeze. Wow. Oh my God, movie star. So I will take it home with my last pick here, and we'll get you all off to your dinners. But I think the Bengals are going to win. I'll take the Bengals in this one. I'll say 38-32. And that wraps up the Thanksgiving extraordinaire. Bonus picks for the Black Friday game. Chicago's going to upset Philly. I'm sorry, Adrian. I know that upsets you. I have to be honest. What do you think? Who's winning the Black Friday game?
I'm gonna say Philly wins. I'm gonna say it's gonna be an ugly game, and let's just say 21-10. I'm not a. You know what? You can tell me whatever you want about Caleb Williams, and you can call me a hater, and I'll take it all because I understand 8 wins is 8 wins. But they are the paper tigers of they are the paper tigers of the NFL, and you won't convince me otherwise.
Wow.
Fair. And
we beat Geno Smith and Mason Rudolph. Miss me, mate.
I popped in to take over for Brian. Can we just discuss the fact that my offseason darling was the Bears?
respect. Respect.
No, we can't.
Basically,
We can't
what I'm
discuss
saying
offseason
is,
darlings ever.
basically what I'm saying is the Bears, I think, are going to win Friday somehow. Don't know how.
Yeah, I think so too, for sure.
Yeah.
Philly's not paper tigers by any stretch. They have one of the best defenses in the league, but I am not too scared of Philly.
No,
Really, I think their offense is borderline inept, and I also think I don't think Sirianni's on the hot seat by any stretch. Freaking Super Bowl champion, but I definitely think that team is more fallible than they look. Wow, guys, what an episode! What a fun time.
yeah.
I'm anticipating McFadden coming back and saying goodbye to everybody, so I'll try to prolong my.
I just got him on Twitter, and it doesn't look like he's going to.
Oh, cool.
He said fun show, so.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, what an episode. I feel as though, I would have liked to have done some more Thanksgiving metaphors. I personally wasn't really bringing it on
I
that.
have a segment called Leftovers.
What is it? What's the segment?
Last takes.
I have a take. Cool. Ready? The Bengals-Ravens game is canned cranberries because you show up to Thanksgiving dinner and you're like, man, I want some homemade, yummy, tasty cranberry sauce, which is the game that we were promised at the start of the season. And we did not get homemade cranberry sauce. But we got canned cranberries, which are good, and they're fun and they're frisky, but they're not as good as they were supposed to be. They're not the juggernaut that
Good
fresh
take.
cranberries are.
I like
Not
it.
that I don't understand the
I like-
analogy, obviously, but good take.
little cranberry
Cranberry sauce with turkey is
goated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as big. Like we have it here, right? We actually don't have turkey in general a lot here, but cranberry sauce with turkey absolutely happens here. But it's not like it's not a centerpiece holiday meal.
I don't want to be ignorant, but do you have turkeys?
Not in Australia. Like I mean,
I didn't think so. Okay.
Yeah, no,
okay.
they're not.
I'm
No,
not-
yeah.
The animal turkeys don't exist. They don't live in Australia.
Don't live in
No.
Australia.
I don't. I've never seen one in the wild.
I think they're a northern bird. I think they're.
I've seen them,
Yeah.
Johns. I've seen them, Johns, in the wild in New York, man. I've seen a turkey cross the road in front of my car, bro.
I used to hunt them.
Definitely
Oh,
not.
nice.
No, it's definitely not a thing here.
Um,
Actually, now that I think my brother's a hunter and he would have killed a turkey had they existed, and no.
nice. Yeah. I'll say Lions Packers. That's your turkey right there. That's your main event for me. I know we all talked about
I like it.
being into the Chiefs Cowboys, but I think Lions Packers is going to be the best game of the day. And Adrian, I don't like picking against you, man, but them Lions, man, they find a way.
Don't apologize. You
And
know
the
what I'll
Packers
tell
find
you?
a way to lose.
It's gonna be a good.
Do you know what? Do you know what is the turkey? Do you know what is the true Thanksgiving meal here? It is the fact that every one of these games could go either way and it wouldn't be a shock. Like it is
Yeah.
going to be an
Ooh,
exciting.
I like
no matter
that.
what you
Fun
say.
I like that
slate.
take. Yeah. That.
Yeah.
This is a really fun slate.
Absolutely.
It's probably the best Thanksgiving slate in my recent memory. Anyway,
Oh, ever.
I can't think of it. Yeah,
Ever.
It's an excellent. Like again, this is all going back to like this is the NFL machine. Their dream is this kind of thing where it's like every week could be anything and every holiday, and this is going to be the most watch. And you know what? What I'll give flowers when they're due because NFL don't get a lot of flowers from me, but like we the fans benefit from that.
100%. They did a good job with this slate. They scheduled and the Black Friday game. All of it. It's fire.
AI did well. I'm sure it did.
Yeah, it's fire, man. Ladies and gentlemen,
ChatGPT this.
what a fantastic slate of or a fantastic episode of discussing a fantastic slate. I couldn't be more thankful for you all, you guys, Brian, the listeners, everybody who makes this show possible. Anthony and I actually met up for coffee, and we put together a plan to resurrect the consistency of the Legit Football NFL podcast, and you guys are seeing the first fruit of that labor today.
Great
it
things
is-
are happening.
It's gonna be fun, man. And anything you want to say to the good people before we sign off?
Go Lions.
Go Lions. Adrian, anything you want to say to the good people before signing off?
You can tell that the consistency is coming, but you can tell how much we miss it because when we do get on a show, our last one was 2 hours plus. This is an hour 42.
This was going to be less than 2 hours. Or less than an hour 45. I knew that we would be able. I knew we'd have the manpower and like I said, the yappers to stretch it.
Yeah, this is the holiday meal, and I don't know if you guys have this, but this is the holiday meal where it's like, okay, dinner's at 6, but you start rocking up at 2:00. We got a couple appetizers.
Oh yeah,
and we'll be talking until 6, and then I'm putting the barbecue on or something.
chips and dip. You know,
Oh, yeah.
everything
Platters
is
everywhere. Platters of
There's
everywhere.
something to be said, and something to be thankful about from here. Is I just genuinely enjoy. I know this is not hanging out literally, but it is to me, and I genuinely enjoy you guys, and I love talking ball with you. So I'm thankful for it all.
We talked some ball today. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing.
On behalf of everybody at Legit Football, subscribe to the Legit Football NFL pod or Legit Football daily newsletter. Obviously, legitfootball.com. Every single day. Easiest way to get your NFL news, best way to get your NFL news. Brian and Joe, our fearless feeders, work really hard on it, and it's some of the best content out there. We plan on bringing you guys a lot more in the not so distant future. So manifest, Legit Football to the moon. I'm thankful for a lot of things, but I'm most thankful for happiness and health and loved ones and everybody around us. Like everybody, like we are us, man. Like we're not possible without each other. I'm thankful for the Adrians, the Anthonys, the Hunter Balls, the Bryans. And I'm thankful for every single person who watches. It really means a lot. If it's 10 of you, if it's 480 of you, like it is in the chat right now, it's the biggest gift that we all have. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of everybody at Legit Football, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy some turkey. Stuffing's overrated. My name's Kevin Phillip Fox. You've been listening to the Legit Football NFL podcast, and we are out.